Hi, my name is Jennifer Pankey. I'm the Vice President of Transformational Impact at Solutions for Change. One of the reasons why I love my job and am honored to do what I get to do every day is that I'm a graduate of the program. I came from a very severe substance abuse disorder. I started using drugs when I was 11 years old. And so being able to work for a program that does not just treat the symptoms, but the root causes is very, very important to me. We get to serve families that are trying to solve the root causes of their homelessness. Our program is 700 days. We're an academy that really gets our people into life training instead of just perpetuating the symptoms and the cycle of dependency. I am here with my daughter today. Her name is Maggie Graham. She actually went through the program with me 13 years ago when we were in the program. She's 14 years old, and she is just a byproduct of what happens when we break those generational curses. A lot of us think that we get stuck, in the cycle of what our parents have, or just society in general have. We get stuck in the thought that we can't change. We get so used to our circumstances and it's comfortable, and we don't think that we can change, but we don't realize how valuable we are. And so Maggie is a byproduct of breaking those generational curses. Growing up, my dad was an alcoholic. I came from a very, very unhealthy background, and so when I started using drugs when I was 11, I always had these severe insecurities. I hated myself. I didn't know who I was. I struggled with mental health, and I just didn't have that supportive system. And I learned really early on that how we dealt with that was to just put substances in our bodies. And so that was my coping mechanism. And through that, it took me up until I was about 19 when I had my oldest daughter, Mackenzie. She's 22 now. And I still thought that that was going to feed this empty spiritual void that I had, and it just didn't work. And so I started to use drugs again after that, and it just became this perpetual cycle because there is no, chemical solution to a spiritual problem. So having this hole inside of me, I started using meth again. I started taking pills, and so it just was this whole downward world spiral that it didn't matter what the consequences were. I just continued to do the same thing because that's just what I knew. And so when I found out that I was pregnant, I did not stop using drugs. And so the final catalyst for me that created the change was that CWS got involved when I gave birth to Maggie 14 years ago. And she was taken from my custody. I didn't see her for about a month. It was the most excruciating pain that I've ever been in my entire life, but rightfully so. It is the biggest joy and amazing thing that's ever happened to me. And I know that probably sounds weird, but I needed those consequences, and I needed that wake-up call, and I needed to know that there was something different on the other side, that there was a bigger plan for me and a purpose in life. And so having Maggie and doing all the work to get her back, it took me about 8 months in total to actually get my full parental rights and get her back. And I worked very hard, and I went to rehab for about 11 months. And unfortunately today rehab's only 90 days. And so I'm grateful that I got the opportunity to have that length because a lifelong addiction doesn't get cured in 90 days. That's when I found Solutions for Change. And I was hesitant. I didn't want to go from one program to another program, and I had the option to go back to my parents' house and just perpetuate the cycle again. And I made a decision that day to try something different, and I'm really, really grateful that I did, because when we came into the program, Maggie was about a year and a half. And Maggie's never known that person. She never has to know that person that I was. She's never wanted for anything. She's never dealt with any of that, that really just negative context, that generational curse. She's never had to deal with that dysfunction.
Hi, my name's Maggie. I'm Jennifer's daughter. I'm 14. And how her journey kind of affected me, I almost felt at one point very isolated. I kind of felt at times not good enough. But I realized when my mom pulled through for me from her addiction that she was strong and she was capable of anything. And I have always aspired to be that kind of woman. And seeing her grow through her journey and get as many years sober as she's gotten has really been so inspiring, because I have never seen that kind of capability in somebody except my mother, and I have never aspired to be someone more than her. She has always been so sassy in the greatest way, and she's always been so straightforward. She always played devil's advocate, which was one of my favorite things, because that's how I am now. I can't imagine being with another person. Sometimes people ask me, would you want another family? Would you want to have grown up a different way? And I say no, absolutely not. Solutions for Change, we did a bunch of activities, and when I first got there, I kind of felt misplaced. I felt lonely. I felt like I didn't have anybody. I didn't really have anything to care for, and we did this thing called Breaking and Entering. We do it every Christmas, and I was in the car, and I remember that I was just really sad, and I had opened the door with my mom, and she was smiling at me, and I was like, what is going on? And I looked into the living room, and there was just this big tree full of ornaments and full of presents, and I went upstairs and there was an American Girl doll, and I was just overfilled with joy, and I really couldn't imagine anything like that happening to me ever, but it happened to me, and I realized this experience could happen to so many other kids, and I really want that to happen to everybody, because it's a once in a lifetime thing, and I honestly don't think I'm ever going to experience something like that again. So I sung at a gala in front of a ton of people. I sang.
Say how many?
500, about 500 people. And I remember I was so scared. I was so scared. I had so much anxiety. I couldn't stop shaking. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. But then I got into this mindset, and I said, you know what? Who cares? Nobody's gonna care. I'm a child. And I said that to myself, and I was like, I can do this. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be amazing. I'm great. So I walked up there, and I remember, oh my God, what if I forget? What if I forget? And I went up there, and I did it, and I was amazing. And everyone loved me, and I gave my autograph out, and I was in shock. I literally think I was in shock the whole time, but I did it, and I was great. I was legit, and I can't imagine, I can't imagine my mom not being in this program, and this exact same situation, like Breaking and Entering, never happening to another kid. I mean, this program is just so awesome.
I think one of the most amazing, unique experiences that I had, especially when I was a student in the program, is coming from a background where there is no real trust or confidence or anything like that. It's survival of the fittest, and when you live that lifestyle, there are you don't make friends easily. You don't trust people because you don't trust yourself. And so, and probably in about 4 to 5 months into my journey, I would follow people around and be like, there's no way that these people are legit. You know, there's no way that they're clean and sober and they're doing this and they care this much and what do they want? And, you know, all of those things to protect myself, right, from getting vulnerable. And I remember some people from the community coming in, like Maggie was talking about breaking and entering. It just means that they come and leave gifts. No one's breaking and entering anyone's unit. But just the sheer support from people that have no skin in the game, that don't expect anything from you, that just want you to be successful, want you to be happy, want you to be whole, and that the realization that there was good people in the world that just wanted the best for you and your kids was really healing for me, because that wasn't my experience growing up. So being able, I think that was one of the first parts of, you know, my journey into, okay, I can do this. I can trust myself. I can trust other people. And so it was really just a beautiful thing. If you're out there and you're struggling with addiction and you feel like you just can't get it right, I'm here to tell you that I'm living proof that change is possible. I have 14 years clean and sober. If I can do it, you absolutely can do it. There's nothing that you cannot do. Give yourself a chance. The biggest lesson that you'll ever have to learn is to love and accept yourself, and that starts with a phone call. And you can contact us at Solutions for Change. Our phone number is 760-941-6545. Our website is www.solutionsforchange.org. You might not live in California, you might not be local, you might not have kids, and that's okay too. We can point you in the right direction. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to do so. We do this together. You're not alone, and we're here for you.